Hey, wake up. Welcome to episode 103 of Scar Bears. I'm Chris DT Gordon. It is, as always, a blessing to have you here with me today. And I want to thank Nate and Britton Barron for helping me out with this project. If you want them to help you on your project and maybe help you stop stuttering as well, you can reach out to them at Nate Barron. Now, I know some of you watching the YouTube episode are wondering, Chris, why are you wearing a Christmas sweater? It's April. Well, you know what? I learned a long time ago, you have to live your own life. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't try to make them happy. Make yourself happy. Wear what you want to wear, okay? And besides, I'm a wimp and it's cold. So, joining me today is my new friend, Angela Knappenberger. How are you today, Angela?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And I'm sorry I had to play on your name a little bit at the beginning because it does tie into your story. You and I are parents, and at one time we were new parents and dealing with an infant that was struggling to understand what this whole wide world was about. And at the same time, we were dealing with issues of our own while caring for this young one. But you have a story that explains what many people do go through, but we really haven't heard about. So could you please share that?
Yes, absolutely. So I got pregnant with my daughter it was like March, I think, 2015. Yes, around there. She was born December 2015. I had a really healthy pregnancy. I did have gestational diabetes, but it was well under control. I never had to go on medication or anything like that. So overall, a really healthy pregnancy. However, once I had my daughter, then things kind of took a turn for the worse. So she was really healthy. And I am getting to the point here. She was really healthy, but it just, I was not getting enough sleep because I was very much like, I really wanted to breastfeed. And that was kind of like, I don't want to say the end all be all, but it was like, no, I'm going to do this. And I was just so determined, but she wouldn't latch. And, for the first couple of weeks, we had to feed her with like an eyedropper syringe and this teeny little medicine cup, So I would pump out the milk and then my husband and I would take turns feeding her. And, and it was so just exhausting and draining because, you have those fears of like, am I ever going to make enough milk? Is she ever going to latch? Is this ever going to work? And then you're like, oh, I'll just give her formula. Well, I didn't really want to do that. And I was afraid if I did give her formula, well, then you maybe can't nurse. Like if you're not, one feed is nursing, other feeds formula. Like you would have to do, if you still want to nurse, you'd still have to nurse,
Mm-hmm.
But we kept at it. But it was so challenging. So to come home from the hospital with her, and that she slept great in the hospital. So, and that most of them do, most newborn babies do. So it kind of tricks you.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. No problem.
Yeah. And I'm like,
wow. Walk through the threshold.
I'm like, we got one of the lucky ones here also, but then when we got home, it was a different story. So she was up those first couple weeks, at least every hour of the night, and I was just, again, so adamant about breastfeeding her that I would just let her nurse the whole night because I didn't really know at the time, being so new to breastfeeding, that she's just hanging on just for comfort. She's not actually getting milk after a certain amount of time,
So it's ironically draining.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, then later I learned, I could have just taken her off, but, but I didn't know that. So I would stay awake while she was nursing because I was just so afraid of what if I roll over while I'm holding her and she's crushed under me. And, and she was so small. She was only about 6 pounds and, you could see her ribs, and it was like, oh, like that was scary for me too. Just to have this teeny little thing is like a little bird, and they're so defenseless and helpless.
Yes.
So it was such a challenge to come home and to adjust from two, my husband and I, to three, just with the virtually all night feedings. And then it would take us hours to get her to sleep. So we'd swaddle her and, we'd rock her like fairly vigorously, because that's what would really help her get sleepy. Do the white noise and put her on her side, all these things. And it would take an hour to 2 hours to do that at bedtime. And then when she woke in the night, she would generally get back to sleep pretty easily, pretty quickly. But it was usually on me. So then I stayed awake, like I said.
So how long does this go on for? Because it sounds, I'm getting tired just listening to describe it.
Yeah. This all went on for about, more than 3 weeks, but it was at the 3-week mark that I was just like, something is going on here. This is not like normal, and I'm of the generation where you Google everything, and I mean, my parents too, they've even kind of come around to that, but it's more me and the younger generation. That's what we do.
Yep.
WebMD, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have some rare disease. Like,
yeah, my baby is not feeding right. Oh my goodness, I have stage 5 cancer in my foot.
Exactly.
Yeah, some crazy stuff.
You can really go really off tangent with that and go crazy. Well, I was doing a lot of research, and I learned that if you have something called baby blues, that's when you just feel sad and weepy and just kind of down. And it happens 2 weeks after the baby's born. But then if it happens and you're still feeling down and hopeless, and if that happens for 3 weeks or more, then it's more than likely postpartum depression. So I'm like, okay. And I do have a history of anxiety, depression that I've been able to manage throughout my life before I got pregnant. So I was like, oh, that kind of already puts me more at risk. So I reached out to my doctor, and I think she was able to take me that same day.
Wow.
Yep. So I went, and I think I answered everything on the questionnaire. Like if you answer this, that means you have postpartum depression. It was like, do you have intrusive thoughts? Yes. Do you, are you thinking of like ending your life or running away from your life? It's like, yes, are you, what's the other one it had asked me? I can't remember, but I do remember being at the doctor's office and looking at our house, because it was really that close to us, knowing my daughter's there and my husband's taking care of her, and I didn't miss her at all. And she's only 3 weeks old, and I was like, oh, she's fine there. And it just was so bizarre, because it was like, who doesn't miss their baby when they're away from them, especially in the beginning when you, like at 3 weeks, I'm not sure. Well, for me, I didn't really bond with her at that point. And that I thought was weird too, because I'm like, I've seen other moms and they're really bonded with their baby, and it's right when it's born. So I'm like, what's happening? So yes, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and I was put on medication, and then saw my therapist more frequently, and she went through the same thing. So that was really years ago when she had her first child. So that was super helpful. And then my mom came to visit and kind of took care of the baby and cooked and cleaned. And so then it gave me time to just kind of sleep and catch up on missed sleep. And then too, I think I entered motherhood at a sleep debt, because my water broke at like 11:30 at night. So then I didn't sleep that whole.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, oh, I wish it would have. But either way, your first child, you're going to be in labor for 14 hours or more. So you're already going into it tired, but anyway, she helped, and her and my husband would trade off with with feeding her from a bottle throughout the night so that I could sleep. So I did make some concessions there, but it was still my milk, you know. And then I think at some point we did introduce some formula just because I just needed more of a break, but everything was fine. So yeah, so that's the story. My mom was with us for about 3 weeks, and just that was kind of the break and the breather that I needed. Yep. So then it wasn't until she was about 7 months old that, you know, although things had progressed and had gotten better, they still weren't great. So when she turned 7 months old, I was just annoyed that she's still waking like 5 times a night, and I never know when she's gonna go down for a nap, and you know, and I'm like, she's really tired, and I put her down for a nap. 20 minutes later, she's up. I'm like, what? You know, like hardly even went pee. Like, what the heck? You know, so that was really, really tough. And my husband and I, oh my gosh, especially in the early days, but even up till then, we were just fighting, and, you know, and I didn't really like being around him anymore. It was like, what do you know? You're at work all day, you know? And I didn't like that because he was really innocent in all of it, and I was kind of just taking out my frustrations onto him. So I told my doctor about it, and she said, you need your sleep. You need your sleep too, not just the baby. So why don't you do the sleep training program? I did it with my kid. It worked great. I think she was like 3 at the time. She's like, we did it when she was a baby, and now she's 3. She still sleeps great. Try it. I'm like, okay, all right. So I wrote down the name, and of course looked it up again on Google, and then asked everyone I came in contact with, tell me about your baby's sleep. How did they sleep? What did you do to get them to sleep? Have you heard of the sleep training program? Like, I wanted to get as much information about it as I possibly could, because so I'm not someone to just like fly by the seat of my pants. No, I like to have stuff planned and weigh the pros and cons, and you know, I like to know exactly what I'm getting into before I'm in it. So and I asked a friend of mine that her daughter, I think, was 4 at the time, and was like this happy-go-lucky, really well-behaved, nice girl. And she told me, yeah, we sleep trained her when she was younger. I'm like, oh, okay. So this isn't like permanently damaging your child or something, you know, because that was at the core of my fear, was that so I knew there'd probably be some crying, that I wouldn't be able to go and get her to stop crying, and that she'd have to sort of work it out on her own. And I was afraid of like, well, how's that going to affect her in the long run? But looking at my friend's daughter, it's like, well, she looks fine to me. She seems happy-go-lucky, you know.
So what is involved in the sleep training?
Oh, it's actually pretty complicated. I mean, in some ways it's really simple, because I mean, it's complicated and simple at the same time, because you're essentially changing and manipulating behavior. So if you're at the grocery store with your child and they want that candy bar and you tell them no, well, now they're going to throw a fit because they're mad, and to help you to change your mind and get them that candy bar. But if you don't give it to them, they're going to give up eventually, you know, and just after you're thoroughly embarrassed, you know, but they'll give up. And then next time they go to the grocery store, they'll know, oh, I could throw a fit about the candy bar, but mom's going to say no. All right, well, I just won't, you know. So it's, in a way, that's what we're doing with sleep training, where I don't want to say we're not ignoring the cries like flat out. It's not like Cried Out where they're in the room crying for 8 hours straight and you're just eating popcorn and watching a movie. No, it's not.
Will you turn it down? We're at the good part, you know.
No, but there is likely going to be some protest, because you're asking them to do something they one, don't really want to do.
Yep.
And 2, something they can't quite do yet, and they're learning the skills to get themselves to sleep kind of the only way they can is you're alone, get to sleep. You're not being rocked or pacified or, but they do it, and it's incredible. So, and my daughter, she had cried a little bit throughout the process. I mean, certainly was more in the beginning. But it wasn't that much. I mean, in the moment, it felt worse than it is, but it was only the first couple nights, and then she got to sleep, and there might have been little whimpers in the night, but then she would get right back to sleep, and so
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. So we're talking like a week, maybe.
The first 3 nights were the most challenging, and then night 5 was a little. I always tell clients that's the one to watch out for, because there's a little bit of a regression, but you just keep being consistent. And then it was, my daughter was by night 6, night 7, she slept all the way through.
Wow.
So then there was another week where we worked more heavily on naps. So really it's about a 2-week program. Could be up to 3 weeks. Sometimes babies get sick throughout the program, or teething, or mom and dad are just help too much is the nicest way to say.
Yeah, it's like the baby helicopter phase. Yeah.
Yep, and I get it. So sometimes that can make it take a little longer, but 2 to 3 weeks, and it lasts forever. Like
right.
My daughter's 6 now, and she's still a great sleeper.
I think we undervalue not just sleep, but the process, the process of and the benefits of sleep, and how they affect our waking life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always think that I got postpartum depression mostly because I was sleep deprived. I mean, I did have some risk factors in my life for it. However, I really think that was more of it than anything else. Because things definitely did get better once my mom came and helped, and I could sleep better throughout the night. And then once my daughter was sleeping better, I was so much better. I mean, and I kind of think of like sleep is kind of like, it is one of the pillars of health. And I kind of think I'm biased in this, but I want to say it's like the foundation, and then everything else comes up from it. But
I know a lot of people use meds, meditation / mindfulness, exercise, diet, and then sleep.
I like that. I never heard of that acronym, but that's good.
Yeah, but I mean, sleep is right there, and I think sleep is at the end only because if you said SMED, it wouldn't sound as appealing. But I think that in your case, it's you save the best for last.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. But yeah, our brains are different. They're really different. A brain from someone that's sleeping well every night versus someone that isn't. I mean, and weight loss. I mean, if you're not sleeping well and you're trying to lose weight, it's pretty likely that it won't happen. So your body tends to store fat with the less sleep you get. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, you look at professional athletes, they are famously good sleepers, because they not only are they using their bodies so much that they need to rest, but they understand the importance of that rest.
Yes. Yeah. And your body actually heals itself in its sleep while you're sleeping. And, and athletes would certainly know that and take advantage of that. Especially like weightlifters, that comes to mind, that, because lifting weights, you're actually like ripping your muscles.
Yes.
When you sleep, now it's healing back together, bigger and stronger. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Exactly. So Angela, where could someone find you if they want to learn more about this sleep practice?
Well, I run a Facebook group. It's called Lehigh Valley Sleep Community. So that's a great place to start. I have lots of events that are coming up. I'm thinking I might have a toddler event coming up this summer, spring, summer sometime.
Excellent.
I'm launching an event a couple weeks from now for newborns, and it's going to be like my first launch. So I'm hoping to learn a lot from it and then make the next one even better. So yep, I post. I'm usually going live in there 2 times a week with some kind of training. Like this past week was newborns and swaddles. I get the question all the time. I know I'm supposed to swaddle my newborn, but they hate it. What should I do? Well, I have some specific recommendations that babies love. They love these kinds of swaddles, and that would really help. So I'm doing these lives. I'm going to be doing some question and answer periods too. And there's sleep tips and funny stories. And I try to make it, a community where no one feels like I'm too scared to ask a question or share my story of bad mom or whatever.
No, I love that, because that's where you were in the beginning. You didn't know this was such a big problem.
Yeah.
And if it weren't so hush hush, or people, were more vocal about it, you probably would have solved this problem a lot faster.
Yes, absolutely. So you could say by me doing this, I'm kind of like coming full circle, I'm helping myself like as much as I'm helping them, because
that
it's
like teaching.
Yes.
Yeah. The more you teach, the more you learn.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's the name of the Facebook group again?
Lehigh Valley Sleep Coach Community.
Okay. Lehigh Valley Sleep Coach Community.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's fantastic. Why I'm really excited for those upcoming programs that you have, especially about the ones that are coming up for, you said toddlers and preschoolers in the summer.
Yes.
Excellent. And unfortunately, the one that you mentioned earlier will have happened by the time that people are hearing this. But I know that they can always look back at your Facebook posts and check those out as well. So, yeah. Angela, I'm wondering, I'm a gratitude guy, and that's what I speak about. What is something that you are surprised that you are thankful for now? Maybe something that happened in the past.
I would say that whole experience from when my daughter was born up until I found this sleep program for her. In the moment, I would never have said that. But yeah, I've been able to connect with so many moms in a way that well-meaning people, but they haven't been there. Like they have not been able to do that. Because I felt in that time, I felt so small and so inadequate, and but now I'm able to help people in the way that I wanted to be helped and needed to be helped. And that's just, I think it really makes your soul just feel at ease to do this, to come full circle in your trauma, so to speak. Yeah, so that would be it for me.
Well, excellent. Well, that's a great answer. Yeah, obviously on a different level, I resonate because of my experience and my journey. But, being able to help other people with their situations and my unique experience, or, my unlikely experience, I would say, because it's not unique in many respects, but being able to help people out, given my experience, is something that is a diamond in the rough, we'll say. It's something that you wouldn't plan on being thankful for, but wow, it's really helped me out, really helped someone else out.
Yes, absolutely. So
as we wrap up here, Angela, I have to ask you, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, I forget what it's called, but the one in that dinosaur movie for kids.
Land Before Time?
Before Time, yes. Yep.
Littlefoot, the Brontosaurus.
Yes. Oh, yes. I remember it as a kid, and I just thought he was so cute. And now we've watched it with my daughter, and it's like, oh, she loves it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Like
awesome.
anytime we watch a Marvel movie, I'm like, fist pumping. Like, yes, I don't have to watch these in secret. So, well, Angela, it's been a blessing and an honor to talk with you. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Definitely. And so, folks, you can check out Angela at the Lehigh Valley Sleep. Finish it up, please.
Coach community.
Sleep, yeah, Lehigh Valley Sleep Coach Community. Check
Yeah.
her out if you want to learn more about this practice, or if you know someone who could benefit from it. Please check out chrisdtgordon.com if you want to learn more about the attitude of gratitude and how my message can increase your gratitude, positivity, and resilience. You can download a free tag one sheet, go visit the merch store and grab a nice tag t-shirt or a what is your favorite dinosaur t-shirt. Those are very popular. And as always, please like, share, subscribe these messages of hope and inspiration that can help others on their journeys through this crazy thing we call life. And finally, again, thank you so much for being here with me. Please have a fantastic day. And remember to pass on perfection and go for greatness.